Yeah, I did.
Welcome back, guys. We are on episode 4 of the Potluck Podcast. Take it away, Tyler.
Oh my gosh.
I practiced that all last night.
And for 2 hours this morning. Yeah, she said, welcome to episode 4 of the Potluck Podcast. Man, because we're coming up on a month and you're just going to like go over that. Like, we've had 4 episodes in, and if you stuck with us, seems like, you know, the views are pretty, like, in a way consistent, right? We're getting at least like 20, 25 views, which is like, you were like, that's not a lot. But when you think about it, like, if you ever did like a speech art, like, that's a whole classroom that comes and like listens to you talk. Then Spotify, Mcgowan, do you have numbers from the Spotify of how many people are about listening?
Yeah.
Every time?
It's like 35, 30, something like that.
So that's like 50 people. When you combine everything together. 50
Oh, I thought you were saying.
I was like,
Spotify, that's 50 people.
You know,
I'm like,
like, continue together. And so people are watching, and we'll keep this going as much as possible for as long as possible. Probably forever, you know, but when it comes to those things, so welcome to a month with us, guys. Huh?
I said I'll be the last one standing.
That's what you think. I have longevity in my...
Oh, what?
Longevity?
What is longevity?
A long lifespan?
I'm probably like the first one to leave, and then like it just goes down. You guys like don't want to do it anymore.
I still want to do it.
I think I'd still do it.
You'd still do
I'd
it?
still do it. That's rude. I was ready to join you.
No,
You know what, we're done.
Tyler.
Tyler.
The last episode.
Come
Sorry.
join.
Let's
Come
go.
listen to my new podcast, The Boys in the Back, with Andrew Berryessa and Corey Toma, as we go over. Why are you laughing? You just got kicked off the podcast. We're just gonna change the names on every single YouTube platform and Spotify. Did you spit on the ground? Hey, these are new leather couches.
I spit on the couch. That's definitely not me.
Dude,
I definitely spit on myself, though.
Let's talk about that real fast, right? Brand new setup, right? We got these nice leather couches because you guys support us financially, right? So make sure you're signing up for that. Guys, there's sometimes where you have to act, guys. You can't just laugh.
That's
sarcastic
laughing.
jokes.
Why can't I laugh?
Because then they don't think that people are actually paying us.
Pastor Chris literally said he
I
subscribed
don't know
for
who
the
Pastor Chris
Oh my
is.
gosh,
Oh
bro.
my gosh.
Never mind. He's a never mind. He's a nobody, but he watches, and I don't want to say he's a nobody. I just gave him a donut this morning.
He's a pastor on staff at Calvary Chapel Westbrook.
Yeah, so new setup. We got a table. There's some donuts there. Probably going to be eating throughout the whole time. Probably. But yeah, so the new setup. Just keep Mcgowan, what's that thing called that we make money off of?
What?
Like it's like Patreon, but like
Anchor?
Anchor. Yeah, Anchor
It's on the
website.
bio.
In the description, you can sign up, support financially. Once a month, nice payment. You know, it's like if you go to church, you kind of give offering. You know. Maybe once a week, once a month, you know, and same thing you can do for the podcast too. You got money, we all know that.
Yeah.
$4.99 a month, be there for that. And we can continue to build, right? Get better microphones, better couches, better people,
cameras.
Papa John's.
Oh.
What?
Better ingredients.
Papa John's. Not sponsored. All right. So if you were with us last week we went over the murder cases of the notorious Zodiac Killer. Did you guys, so after that, did you guys get any more research done or learn anything new? No?
I wanted to be on a cliffhanger for the rest of the week.
Am I right?
I kind of matched that same vibe. Last week was a slightly busy ending. So I was kind of a tad ocupada.
I think it's funny, like, even like the vibe where it's like, no, we just like want to come and like sit and hear the story. Like it's like we don't have any opinions. Like
No, I have opinions.
no, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like it's like no, like you want to just like be like an audience and just like partake. You know?
Oh yeah.
So
I end up getting a lot of random murders on my TikTok though.
yeah, I can't help you with that. So if you remember last week, we started like talking about the murder cases of the Zodiac Killer. It was the Lake Hermann Road murders, right? Those were the first ones took place. Betty Jensen and David Faraday. They were going on some party thing, going to a party, Christmas like formal thing, and they pulled over to the side of the road to do some nefarious things, and someone approached them, killed them, right? And no one knows truly, like, what happened with that, but we do know the Zodiac Killer called and confirmed that he was the one that committed those murders. Those were the first two. Then we have the Blue Rock Springs murder, right? That was Darlene Farron and Michael Mcgowan. That's when they were in, if you remember, they were in like a parking lot, and a car came up and pulled up beside them, and then it just got real scary, real interesting, really fast, right? They were killed, and then he called from like a gas station not too far away, and he confessed to the murder that 2 people had been killed. Then we have the Lake Berryessa murder, and in that one, there's 2 people just over at a lake having a good time, and some guy came up with a shirt that had like the Zodiac symbol on him, and it's like one of those, like, would it be like the not the Calgary, but like those Christian like people, like during the Dark Ages, right? They just had a cloak.
That gray
like a hood. Yeah, they had like a hood that went over, and so he tried to kill, right? There's 2 surviving, one of the guy there, and then of course the Paul Stein murder took place in San Francisco with the cab driver, where the police wrongfully thought he was an African American male and let the murderer get away. We talked about the notes that were sent, everything that took place, and so today we're kind of just going to go over some of the suspects, and we're going to probably figure out who the Zodiac Killer is today. So you guys ready for that? Yeah?
Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz. Yeah, so it might be Ted Cruz, right? That's one idea of it, but Ted Cruz wasn't even born at this time.
He was born 2 years later.
So maybe, he's the son of the Zodiac Killer, but we don't know.
Oh, there's a theory. I wouldn't call it a theory, but he served in the military.
Yeah, well, when it comes to a lot of these guys, the Zodiac Killer.
Okay. I definitely was like, what the heck? Why are we talking about him?
Do you know who Ted Cruz is?
Nope.
I
literally had to look up because I acted so well last week. I was like, oh, I've seen those memes, and I went home later and was like, memes of Ted Cruz.
Alright.
Okay, Ted Cruz is a politician.
I knew that. I just didn't know his face. I was like, he's got to be something in politics.
Alright, so let's go over first some of the descriptions we have of like the people that had witnessed and saw the Zodiac Killer. And kind of, so Michael Mcgowan. So Michael Mcgowan was part of the second string of murders, if you remember. With that, what is it? The Blue Rocks, is that what it was called? Mm-hmm. Blue Rock Springs murder, right? So he was able to survive that killing, right? Did he survive that killing? Yeah, he did. I don't know why, but he somehow survived, right? After even coming back and being shot.
I don't know why he did.
Well, it was just crazy, but he did, and so this is how he described him. He described him as a white male American, short, possibly 5'8", was real heavy set, beefy build, not blubbery fat, but real beefy, possibly 195 to 200, or maybe even larger, short curly hair, light brown, almost blonde, with a large face. So, Zodiac Killer might be, it seems like he got a little fat shamed on the murders.
Not blubbery, but fat.
Just beefy, right? Like 195, 200. I mean, would you guys consider that an intimidating individual?
Yeah.
Yeah? Because like Macau, you're probably I'm like 5'7", Macau's probably like 5'9", 5'10". So.
Are you taller than Tyler? What the heck?
So when it comes to it, right, like it's like short shamed. I don't even know how he goes.
Short king man.
I think your husband's shorter than me.
Let's not talk about him. Don't. He's so nice. Look at him.
But like an intimidating individual, right? That like's coming on the scene there. Let me look. This is Brian Hartel. He survived the lake murder one as well. It's weird how the girls always die and the guys somehow make it out alive, right? So this is him talking about his hair. He goes, I saw it from where the goggles fitted. So remember, he was kind of like in like that hooded thing. He saw his hair. He said, I looked so closely to find out. When he turned, you could see that it kind of fluttered. I could see his hair. It looked kind of greasy. So nasty hair.
Don't shower.
Yeah, probably not showering. Right? I would doubt serial killers shower.
I feel like they would because they have to clean all the blood and the
Ted
sweat
Bundy
off.
definitely did.
Why?
Because he pulled.
What does that mean?
Do you have to shower to pull?
I think so.
What does pull mean?
He
Kids
got
watch the
women.
show.
He got women.
Yes.
Oh.
It's not anything bad. It's like, oh, he grabbed them. Like, he got their attention.
Like he pulled and just like, he has game.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see.
You know, the kids these days just get more and more intelligent with words.
I see. So he goes on to describe him a little bit further, right? He says, when I first talked to the police, he said, I mean, I had the guy being a walrus. This guy's getting like fat shamed like all the time. It's the poor Zodiac Killer, right?
That's probably why he
He has to like 30 because he was fat. Because he was a walrus. Like that's mad. Like to describe someone as a walrus, like that's crazy.
If I was a Zodiac Killer, I would have went back to that guy and been like, who's talking now? And then literally killed him.
Okay. So you just confessed
So a new
to
theory
It's
that we have.
you hate being attacked, right? In that way, even though you've attacked people already on the show. Ted Cruz, poor guy. So he's like a war. Like look how he further describes him. You know, he had one of those Sears type of jackets. You know, those that can either be lined or unlined. And if it's lined, that person could be thin. If it's unlined, that person could be heavy. I mean, he's not obese. He gave him a compliment right there, right? The clothes.
descriptions, man.
I mean, like, I don't know. Jackets are so
What's this
nice.
guy's name? Brian what?
This is Brian Hartel.
I'm gonna find an interview
God,
with
We're in the middle
we're in the
of
middle of the
something.
podcast. Are you just gonna try to find a picture and shame him?
him. Let's talk about you, sir. No, keep going. Keep going. I'm gonna find him.
Types of jackets? No, we don't have to get into that. But lined or unlined? Lined jacket or unlined jacket?
I like lined.
Lined.
I don't even know what that means.
Lined is when it's more fitted.
I don't
Unlined.
think so.
Although, isn't that what it is?
No, I think it's like when it has stuff on the inside.
I
Like
thought
when it has
lined.
shirt butt and stuff. Like that's lined.
Time to.
We can get that fact checked. We don't have to pull out our phones and start
No, I'm just
scrolling
looking
on our
at
phones.
this guy. That's what he looks like.
Okay, well, kind of fact check it.
That's what he looks like.
Oh, unfortunate.
Bro, I know.
I wanted to talk.
Oh my gosh!
Not that we're mean.
Look up Brian Hartwell and be mean to him as well. Witnesses from
He's
the
72 now.
from
Calm
the
out.
Stein murder, right? If you remember in the San Francisco, they said he was a white male in his early 40s, 5'8", heavy build, reddish blonde, crew cut, wearing glasses, dark brown trousers, dark navy blue, and black. What's that? Parka, right? That's how you pronounce it.
Like a
Parka.
parka jacket?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dark shoes. And so that was the sketch that was used to basically identify him, right? And that's the sketch we all know and see today is one from the Stein murder. So, white male adult, early 40s, 5'8", scariest, right? Scariest man alive, right there. White male
Adult.
adult. 5'8", heavy build. Do we know anyone that we can describe as that?
5'8".
Are you white?
You're not white.
Are you
Basically
45?
white.
No, you're not.
Almost.
You're
Okay, I was claiming to be white,
And 45.
and 45.
He is the Zodiac Killer, so.
But I guess what we say, right? Maybe not the most like intimidating of individuals, right?
No.
You think like a little on the more like average height end.
Who's the guy from Fast and Furious? The bald guy.
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name.
Vin Diesel's like taller, isn't he?
Is he taller?
I can look that up.
That's
right
who
now.
I
Keep
would.
going,
That's
Kat.
who I would imagine. Not him
You think
specifically.
Vin Diesel is the Zodiac Killer?
No. Because I'm trying to think of the build of the person. I'm
Vin
like,
Diesel is 6 feet tall.
that's not that far. He's
no,
not-
That's 4 inches.
I'm not in.
He's
I'm
5'6".
way more. I feel like
No, it's
I personally am
5'8".
That's
way
4
more
inches
likely
with
to
me.
be intimidated
Of
by
way-
someone taller.
I'm sorry, hang on. Inches? feet go by 12, not 10.
Oh.
Bro, school system failed me once again.
And you're a teacher.
I do not teach anything about that. I don't.
Sorry, everyone.
Ask
What were
me
you
about
saying?
geology wrong.
No, I was
I
just
wasn't
saying
wrong.
the taller someone is, I think that's when it's more intimidating. But
Oh, not intimidated by me?
So he's
how do
like,
I say this nice?
he's like average height, right? So like that's the thing. It's like you're just kind of going around, and then like he's slicing and dicing.
Yeah.
I don't know what is scary. Like, I don't know what is scary about this man. I'm just
Maybe
scared
the
of
fact
men
that he
in
killed
general.
like 37 people.
But we didn't know that until later.
I know.
I don't know.
But
I
I
think
also don't see him on the street and be like, that man's gonna hurt me.
I just like personally, I'm not an easily intimidated person. So, but that doesn't mean that I would personally like, oh, let me just be super friendly to everyone. To me, I think anyone has the capability of doing harm. So once again, I'm even thinking like these people that wouldn't leave. I'm telling you, what the constant thought that left after the last podcast was, how did these people that were in the parking lot not drive away after another car pulled up right next to them? That to me, I'm like, you're dumb. And then I was even just now thinking, what if you were shot and then like you weren't actually like fatally shot? I would have played dead.
Okay, well it
Wait,
hurts.
because he
Like
ends up going,
Oh yeah.
you're been shot before. It's not like
No.
it's not like
No, but I'm thinking like, okay, but I'm thinking like, suck it up for just that time.
gosh, he just got shot.
There's a chance for you to be alive.
One of them got shot in the face.
Well, have you seen those things where it's like, if
I'm
you're-
just speaking from personal.
Well,
Personal
What?
experience
No,
or personal
did I say experience? Do not put words in my mouth. I just said from personal, like a personal opinion that I have, that I think that I would feel like would be the wisest, would be, okay, if you're not fatally shot, again, I have a higher pain tolerance. Maybe that's just me. And maybe they didn't. I don't know. I don't know what it's like to be shot. I can't
know,
say
but
anything
kids
like
have a
that.
higher pain. Like
I do,
getting
like
shot.
like in general, I do. But I'm thinking like I would like my willpower to honestly be like, okay, shut up, suck it up, play dead.
okay, let me shoot you.
Okay.
You have to like understand at the same time. Like,
I'm a little
you probably don't have a lot of control, right?
You
Great
don't.
pain, great fear.
Where did he shoot him?
I don't have that, but I think he shot the girl in the face in
Mm-hmm.
this one murder you're talking about.
Suck it up.
Oh, I'm thinking of the stabbing where he's like, he goes, but he
He
shoots the
stabbed her
guy
like
in the
27
face.
times.
But I thought he shot the guy in the neck and in the face. And that's why I was like, how did he survive? I could be wrong. I could be mixing him up. Anyway, that's my guess.
Alright. You guys ready to get into some of the suspects?
Yeah.
Ready to see? Alright. Here we go.
Alright. Why?
Because we're starting a new section.
Okay.
What is okay?
Right, Mcgowan?
Yeah.
That's how you transition.
No!
He said, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. The first suspect, Earl Van Best Jr.
Are you
Earl,
going to show us or should we look him up?
don't look him up. Just hear the story.
No.
It looks a little weird when you just pull out your phone like.
Well, I want to look up the person.
You can look him
You
up
also
after.
look him up with us.
Yeah, Earl Van Best Jr. So,
We'll put a picture of him right here.
But if you're on the podcast,
yeah,
gotta
but
do that.
Macau, you know what you should do is you
Put
should
their
copy their
face
photo
right
in the middle of
so
the
that they
chair.
can
there.
see.
And
Now
the-
you have to watch, guys.
Earl Van Best Jr. Right? So
but
his
also on Spotify.
his son, right? I don't know what the relationship was between it, but they had two totally different names, and so his son came out with this book called "The Most Dangerous Animal of Them All," right? Subtitled "Searching for My Father and Finding the Zodiac Killer." So basically, right? Already a dark story, right? Like his father had left him or had abandoned him.
Maybe it was
So
the
he goes
kid.
backwards.
The kid and the father and son that went fishing by the lake? Oh, maybe the father did. Sorry.
Last podcast, we talked about how horrific that would be for the poor child to see all that going on.
But maybe, I don't know, he put it out of his mind and then was like, wait, my father, because the father was like, ugh.
No, he was not the kid at he was not the
I just
kid
said
at the
maybe.
lake.
Anytime
All
someone
right,
brings
so
up fishing to my
he's
kid, it's like,
accusing he accuses his father And so what kind of like the evidence behind that is he looks similar to the sketch, right? So he's like for the San Francisco photo, and in the sketch on the photo of his father, they have the same glasses, they have like a larger face. He matches up for those things pretty similar. When you look at the code that the Zodiac Killer gave out, and he said to, okay, this is my name, you have to get the code or whatever. His name, Earl Van Best Jr., fits the exact same number of code given that was there. So that's what they're saying that. Also, they said a handwriting expert looked at the marriage certificate of Earl Van Best Jr., and he said they are a perfect match, right? So the Zodiac Killer signing of San Francisco and things like that is a perfect match to the handwriting used on the marriage certificate. So what do you guys think about that?
Oh my gosh. And that there was no like what proof or, I mean, to me that
Like handwriting?
The fact that even like the lettering and like the cipher was enough to combine them and to like at least get a match, to me I'm like, okay,
yeah,
that would make sense. Unless like the other suspects are more have more incriminating like evidence, to me I'd be like, that's the guy.
I don't know. I'm still confused on the coding.
So like the Zodiac Killer like used a cipher.
She doesn't know what a cipher is. So you know, like when we're like when we do like escape rooms and there's like a riddle and then you have to solve the riddle, and then so that's basically what he did, right? He would send letters. He said, "This is my name," and he put like kind of like a riddle, a cipher. No one's ever been able to figure out the cipher. But why I think this was a little bit weird is because it's not like they solved the cipher. It's more like his name just had the same amount of letters. You know?
Didn't the high school teacher
and his wife
fix?
They finished that original cipher, but the
there
one
was
with
another
his
one.
name, yeah.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. Gotcha.
But yeah. So when it comes to the handwriting thing, though, is that they went to church where he got married, and the marriage certificate, the priest said that it was written by the priest, and so that Earl Van Best Jr. wasn't the one, right? And I guess it kind of makes sense, right? Like, why would he fill out his own marriage license?
I think this makes sense.
But then it gets really funny, right? Because then it's like this handwriting expert's like, no, this is the guy. They match up perfectly. There's no difference between the two.
You look.
And then it's like, well, then that means
He was
it's
later
the
fired
priest,
that day.
right? Like, so, yeah,
Take
it
him
was,
off the force.
also, a couple other things. It didn't. It matches only the description. It only matches with the Paul Stein, right? The guy that killed him in San Francisco. But the matches don't match any of the other things when it comes to the previous 3 murders that took place. They didn't do a DNA test. Do you remember they found a DNA on the stamp?
It was the sort of palm, right?
No, that was in Paul Stein's one.
Oh, okay.
But the when he licked a stamp. So they didn't test it. They didn't test his DNA, and the police refused. They said there wasn't enough evidence.
That's so dumb.
And so the son believes that this was like a police cover-up. That they like, why wouldn't you just test the DNA, right?
I mean, you would. I would think that you would do anything and everything, and like
To stop him.
to see if that was plausible. Oh, it's so stupid.
Again, that goes
Maybe
back
it
to
was
where
cover-up.
that's where they mess up on their like, oh, he's an African American man and he's not a white male. It's like they're over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like even
Just
like,
saying.
because it's weird. Like you would think that for all these years that they've like gone over the Zodiac Killer, and it's been an open case, that they would at least do some attempt to figure it out, right? Or maybe they have tested this guy's DNA and they just haven't released it. They haven't told others about it, right?
Well, to me that'd be kind of dumb to not
release it.
I mean, not necessarily to the public, but at least make it something that, hey, we're actively looking for this, and within other areas and like surrounding cities and like counties.
Sure.
To me, that would not make sense to keep it in house like that if this is a killer who now claimed 37 other murders. That's kind of
Well, so that is Earl Van Best Jr. Now we are moving on to Arthur Lee Allen. Arthur Lee Allen is probably the most prominent suspect to be the Zodiac Killer, I think they kind of came forward as like Arthur Lee Allen's always been like the top list for like all 40 police departments that were searching for the Zodiac Killer, and he also became basically he was implied in the 2007 film Zodiac, which is about the Zodiac Killer, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and
Controversial.
What's
some
right
other
now.
people. I forget who, but
Why do they know Jake Gyllenhaal?
huh? Because Jake Gyllenhaal. Because when I was watching the video, they said Jake Gyllenhaal and someone else.
Okay,
Don't worry, we're Team
Really?
Taylor.
really quick.
Alright.
Imagine being a white male, 5'8", the same height as him throughout this whole time. Like, you know you're not the Zodiac Killer, but like you kind of, not like fear for your life.
I mean,
Anybody could be like, it's him. And then they could call you know, like there's always those
So, like,
false
that's a good point.
accusations. That's just a thing. That's just more where my mind went to.
That's crazy. That's like,
No, say it.
well, I guess like if we're getting political, then it's like on the opposite side, right? What's their mistake? The black man, you know, like how scared must it be? You know, like every time it's like, oh, it's a black guy, and it's like, oh, there's not much more descriptors usually after that, right? But back to Arthur Lee Allen. On the third Zodiac attack, remember the one at the lake where he stabbed that woman and that guy survived? I called him a walrus. Arthur Lee Allen was actually there. The day of the murder, Arthur Lee Allen told his family he was going to go scuba diving at the lake. He would come back later that night, bloody, with a bloody knife in his car.
what?
If you remember, Cecilia Shepard, the woman killed in the murder, was stabbed multiple times with a knife.
How did he justify that to his family?
His family's a little weird, you know? If you do some research, they weren't always, you know, the closest there, but I mean, he could have just told them, like, man, I gutted a fish or something, but he came back.
Well, what was the alibi that, like, is this dude alive?
So he died out of a heart attack quite a bit ago, but
Okay.
Yeah.
But, like, as far as, like, being a suspect, was he brought in? Was he interrogated?
good question. Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit, and we'll see it. But then these murders start happening, and this man calls himself to be the Zodiac. It's not like one of the weirdest things.
What if he was being afraid? What if his friend, Cheney, was like, hey, I'm gonna set this dude up perfectly. What if it's Cheney? What if it's like, because what are the odds of that actually happening? Of a guy being like, oh, call me the Zodiac. And he's like,
Well,
There's
whoa.
a good chance. There's a good chance.
Cheney also said that Arthur had told him that he planned to hunt people with a gun and a flashlight. And then in his second
What does Cheney look like?
second police interview, Arthur Lee told the police that his favorite book was The Most Dangerous Game that involves the hunting of humans and is also referenced in the Zodiac's letter.
I still think Cheney.
After this
I have a question.
man said, I am the Zodiac, I want to hunt people. My favorite book is the same book of the Zodiac Killer.
What if he was just a fan? You know, people get obsessed. People go weird. I read about the Zodiac Killer. You know, this is actually.
That's true.
People
Right,
have
yeah.
done, I mean, they did the same thing with, like, any other. I'm just thinking Ted Bundy.
Okay.
Well, because I feel like that was to me, that is the serial killer that has been the most personable. Like, he literally was luring women in.
Alright, 10 days in a couple weeks.
A couple weeks.
Okay, wait. I have something. That has nothing to do with. I mean, yes, it has something to do with killing, but like the Columbine shooting.
Oh my gosh!
I'm sorry. This is where I'm getting it. Like, have you watched the movie?
No!
Whatever it is about the lady, I don't know what it is. But in the movie, the two boys are like they're in their basement and they're like, we love Hitler and like, but like you get that obsession from evil if your heart is evil.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm like they like if you watch the movie, they're in there, they're like, oh yeah, Hail Hitler, like we want to be like him, we want to do this, and it's like, I didn't think you could be a fan of evil like that. But he could be a fan of the Zodiac Killer and just want the fame.
Well, let's get to that because So
I'm smart, guys. I swear.
Arthur Lee Allen would eventually get put in jail for 3 years. So he was in jail for 3 years. And one of the inmates named Ralph Spinelli said that Allen admitted to the murder of Paul Stein. So in jail, apparently he admitted, like, yeah, I killed that guy.
Just one though?
Wait, how was he in jail?
He got put in jail.
Who did they start putting you in? Even if
He
you're-
did something. I don't want to talk about.
Oh,
it.
okay.
He got put in jail, but, like, yeah.
Oh, word.
Yeah, he was put in jail for 3 years, and then apparently in jail he admitted to the murder of that guy. But this is maybe you guys are right. Like, that's even what I kind of thought too, right? Like maybe he started getting a little obsessed with this, like wanted to be it. But Mike Mcgowan, if you remember, he is the one from the first murder, right? No, the second murder.
I don't
He's
think
one of the
he
murders. He's
survived.
one of the survivors, right?
Mhm.
Of the murder. Who had seen the face of the Zodiac Killer, and when shown a lineup of men, he pointed out that Arthur Lee Allen was the one that shot him.
No.
Pretty crazy, right? Pretty intense. And then because of that, they went and they checked his house again, right? That's kind of how he got put in jail the first time. They seen that there were bombs, plans for bombs, and tapes of the Zodiac Killer. And if you remember, like tapes about the Zodiac Killer,
Oh, okay.
and if you remember one of the last letters that the Zodiac Killer wrote, he said that he was going to bomb a bus and shoot the little kids.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy, having a history of all these things, right, it seems to be lining up in multiple ways. But what do you think about all that? Because I'll give you guys some things that why he's maybe not be the Zodiac Killer after. But
I mean, I think that that's insane. But once again, I feel like that is so. I honestly, I think that that's just so wild. That like, what are the odds of like everything all of a sudden lining up? The Zodiac Killer all of a sudden decided to get sloppy after 37 murders. He was smart, because like he was smart enough to like stop after was it 5? He killed first, or he took ownership for, or was it 3?
he took ownership of 7
Okay,
crimes, right?
yeah, but like
5
he would
died.
like call back
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But he stopped calling them in so that they wouldn't get a voice, or that they wouldn't figure it out. But then all of a sudden now this stuff is lining up. My thoughts on that is that seems a little too easy, and that seems a little too perfect.
Maybe it wasn't fun for him anymore. Like hiding.
But I think still that he wasn't, I would say, hiding. Because this dude was I'm assuming he was an active member where it wasn't like, oh, let's look at this weird neighbor over here, or, obviously had to have some sort of personality in the community. I just think that that's so random that it would all of a sudden fit into place, and the whole, call me the Zodiac, and where did that even stem from? Could Cheney give us that, that explanation of why, or why was his story the favorite, or his book the favorite, or the most dangerous game?
And I think because it's like we're picking parts of it too, but also at the same time like this guy's clearly like a creep, right? Like there's like you can put him in the area and in these places, like going scuba diving at a lake, and then coming back bloody. Like those are things that are pretty intense, right? Like for the day of the murders. Like, that's what Kai, did you have a hand raise?
Yeah. In the third murder, the one at the lake, didn't he come up to the people and like, I need to borrow your car. I'm an inmate from yada yada jail in Montana or something.
He claimed, right? He claimed to be.
So with that Arthur guy, why wouldn't they like look him up in that jail and see? Because if the Zodiac claimed it, you can also tie that back in. And be like, well, was this the guy in this jail? I didn't say that right. In the jail, in this city, in this state, like at this time. Because then you could like kind of like either cut him in or cut him out.
Yeah. Well,
I should be an investigator.
That's true, right? Like if you see if he was one that escaped from jail and all that, it's just what we see is that he scraped it into their car, right? Like he scraped Vallejo, which connected to the previous murders, but then he didn't take their car. Which is like, you know, like what do we? Which gets, you know, maybe it is a copycat. I think there's like a lot of opportunities to find copycats in this time, but
Yeah.
I think he said, "I need to borrow your car." To like lure them in to get
no,
them away.
it says here, they were approached by a man wearing, right? So it's not like, hey, I need to borrow your car. Let me look, you see my costume here? Like he came up to them with a gun, you know?
No. I know, but like he's like, I need to borrow your car, and then he like gets them into that fear. I mean,
He's
I don't
wearing the
know.
costume.
He's wearing.
Like he's wearing like the Zodiac sign. Remember,
Oh
he's got the hood.
yeah.
It's not like he's like, hey, I just came
sketch
from a
of that,
convention. You know, like, can I? You said what?
I saw a sketch of that, like of what like he supposedly looked like. That would be the creepiest thing.
You gotta think,
ever.
right? Even like the situation, like you're just at a lake, right? And it's just open picnic, and then this guy comes over the hill. Just imagine what it's like. Like,
Again, why aren't you running? Like, why are you sitting there?
Yeah,
Run.
again, the reactions of some of these people are, I think, what actually makes me the most upset.
but like, I think it's like I heard this story from a pastor. Like him and his wife, like the same thing happened, and like a homeless guy like charged them with like a bottle, and he was just like, what? Like he's like, what am I gonna do? Like, you know? And then
Run!
and then you know he had his wife. But yeah, sorry, you had something to say?
Oh, I did. I don't remember what I was saying. Oh,
Okay.
jeez.
So some reasons why he may not be the Zodiac Killer, but again, he was the #1 suspect for a long time. It says the DNA did not match, so they actually tested this guy when it came to the stamps. So his DNA did not match with the stamps. Like again, like we're saying, like all these speculations and whatnot. Like apparently this guy had like a habit of having other people lick his stamps.
Smart.
Yeah,
Again,
but
smart
this
man.
guy's again, he's a creep. I guess I could see that.
Or even you don't need
your
to lick.
saliva.
You can just use water.
But I feel like this guy's not smart enough, you know, like
The
there's
Zodiac Killer?
well, this Arthur guy.
Oh,
Like,
I
he's a
was like,
killer,
the,
you know?
the Zodiac Killer is definitely smart if that guy is confident enough to call the police and like
Basically, like
walk
taunt.
and like walk in the area you just killed, and the police follow you, and you have like no fear in you. I still can't get over that letter where he's like, you guys literally drove past me. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, it's because
I would've
they
taken
thought
a
it was
selfie.
someone else.
I would
Black
take a
man.
selfie. I would have been like, oh, and like sent it to them with my mask on. I'd be like, hey.
Yeah,
Well,
this was in the
he wasn't-
70s, guy. They didn't have cell phones.
No, he wasn't walking around with a mask.
His fingerprints did not match, his handwriting did not match, and he did not match the suspect description.
Okay.
So that's
This big
him.
Arthur guy who has the bombs?
This is what? This is Arthur Lake. Arthur
Oh,
Lake.
this is someone else.
A third suspect, Lawrence K. Lawrence K, also often known as Kane. He was in a car accident, right, or a little bit earlier in his life as he's getting, and so, but as therapists and people say, he kind of like started getting a weird behavior, like he couldn't control himself. The second victim of the case, her sister, so the second victim, her sister came forward and said Kane had been like stalking her sister weeks coming, like 2 weeks before he started stalking her. There's also the officer that saw the Zodiac Killer that we just talked about. When he looked at the lineup of photos of all of these people, he said Lawrence K is the most person that resembles the person he saw that day.
Now, in description though, like he matches it, and I mean, what other? Because the other dude also said
It
that
was him.
He doesn't match. He matches the Paul Stein one. I don't think he matches the other one.
Could it be multiple people at this point? If everyone has a different person, could it have been
Well, we
a
can
group?
theorize that at the end, right?
Okay,
Let's,
okay.
let's get through the suspects and we can.
Big
so,
brain energy.
God, my head hurts.
you
Oh my
know,
God.
there's a process kind of storytelling, you know, like we still got like another suspect after this, like, so, but in regards to him, right, he was a 6-minute walk from where Paul Stein was killed, and then the Vallejo police, they've been able to place him at the several locations of the Zodiac Killer. Like, they were able to place him that day, being like around that location. And so what also happened was
How
that
can you place them?
we don't have their, you know, they're police, so they probably have this, but it's not like public information, you know?
Oh, gotcha.
It's like we could place you at the donut place today. How?
I don't know.
Put like donut in her mouth, like
I'm like, nope.
and so, but like this might even be even more. So he would end up moving to Salt Lake, Tahoe, right? And I don't know much about this case that would happen. He moved to Salt Lake City, Tahoe, and that year, a possible Zodiac Killer case came up in Salt Lake, Tahoe. A woman went missing. There was a letter. They don't know if it's actually from him or not. Her name was Donna Lass. She disappeared, and Kane worked at the same hotel that she worked at. So that's one. Then there's another case with this woman named Kathleen Jones. Kathleen was in a car with her child, newborn child, maybe a baby, whatever. Her car breaks down. She pulls over to the side of the road. Someone comes up, offers to take her to the next city. She gets in the car with the Zodiac Killer. A confirmed case of the Zodiac Killer.
In Salt Lake.
I don't know. I thought about
With
that
the
too.
baby?
Macau, see if this one was in Salt Lake. Kathleen Jones. Because she had face-to-face interaction with the Zodiac Killer. As they're driving in the night, he tells her that he's going to kill her and he's going to throw her baby out after her. And so as he's taking a turn, she's able to hop out of the car and escape.
Where's
the
her baby?
With
Oh,
her
thank
baby.
God. Okay.
Kathleen Jones?
Kathleen Jones.
I would have
It's
ended
in
the
California.
podcast right
It's in
there.
California,
The baby
right?
was not
So this
with
one,
her.
so this one took place in California.
I'll find out myself.
And there's a letter that people think confirms that this is the Zodiac. So that's why, right? Face to face. So she
lied.
had FaceTime with the Zodiac Killer.
But did Kane move back to California?
Well, hang on. So given a lineup of photos, multiple time, a long time spent with this man, she picked Kane to be the one that was in the car with her.
Jeez.
And how do you know what the guy looks like if you've been tracking him? Why don't you arrest him? Little rats? My God.
That's wild.
I'm
That's
still
so
caught up, like,
weird.
She turned, hopped out with the child? That's bomb
It's
of the
crazy,
year.
right?
How-
Because
yeah,
and I remember now the letter confirming this was like he's saying, oh, like to the police, like now I have a hit list. Like, and it's that one woman with the baby that I'm gonna come after, and so that's where it kind of confirms that it was the Zodiac Killer. And so she picked out Stein, and so why it may not be him, right? There was no
She picked out
findings of
Stein or
DNA.
Kane?
You mean Kane?
Kane, yeah, sorry.
I was
Kane.
like, what the heck?
I was like,
we just
So there was no DNA findings. The handwriting didn't work. He matched the description of the Paul Stein case, but not the 3 other ones. So he's right. These 2 probably the most known suspects, but we have one more suspect.
What's the lady's name?
Kathleen Jones.
Is she still alive?
I don't.
I mean, well, did she like make it or was she killed?
She wasn't killed. And
I'm trying to find her, but they just keep showing me Jake Gyllenhaal. This is not even funny here.
Okay, continue on with the
Right.
I'm
last
Last
suspect.
trying to find her.
After.
yeah, Kai, we have
Kai,
all
can I see
day.
your phone?
No, let me see your phone.
Why don't you
Okay,
give me
that's
both
fine.
your phones?
Okay.
Alright, you guys ready for the last one?
Yes.
Gary Francis Post. Gary Francis Post. On October 6, 2021. the case breakers, comprised of more than 40 former law enforcement investigators, journalists, and military intelligence officers, announced that they had solved the question of who the Zodiac Killer was.
We brought the military into this.
So they came
we
together.
suck.
So yeah, this group of people came together. They're looking and they're searching like this is who the Zodiac Killer is. And so one of their things and why they say is that they went into the dark room of Post, right? Gary Francis Post. There's one image where he has like scars on his forehead, right? And in the picture, he has scars on his forehead, and it matches the same scars that are seen in the Zodiac Killer in his description as well. So scars are different, right? Because we can have like scars on our, but like not many people do. So they had matching scars right there. And then the team said that the Zodiac ciphers also point to Post. Is that removing the letters of Post's full names reveals an alternate message, according to the Army intelligence agent Jen Buchholz, which is right. Like so, this is really recent.
Mm-hmm.
So they're still like getting all the information and evidence out that they're putting out there,
Yeah.
but they're saying like they've solved this message that points to Post. And a lot of so I asked like, what is a dark room? So this fool has his own dark room at his house, right? Like
It's like that's where you do photography, right? Where you
Yeah,
have
it's where you
different,
develop
lighting.
stuff.
develop
yeah.
film. It's dark, right? There's no light because it can destroy the photos. That's creepy already, right? And to have one like at your own house, most people don't have one, right? Like you gotta go to a school or something like that.
No, they can have them in their bathrooms.
They can have them in their bathrooms.
Yeah.
That's even weirder.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know that, sir? Next question, please.
Alright, so this they had this to say about. So this one's a little bit long. So when the case breakers approached officials about a new Zodiac suspect last spring, 5 police and state agencies would not cooperate. But last week, this is October 6th,
I was like, jeez.
the man who runs the 10-year team, the case breakers, his name's Thomas J. Colbert, received a tip from his longtime source in a remote town of the deceased Gary Francis Post. They had verified the existence of an evidentiary gold mine. And so, and what that is, and so again, it's still being developed, what they found and these things like that. But this associate, so basically, they just seemed that he was just a house painter, right? He was mild-mannered, he was a nice guy, just painted houses. But a few years ago, prior to his death in 2018, at 80 years old, he had quietly given away his weapons, pistol parts, gunpowder, bullets, shell casings, more than 1,000, involving 25 different calibers to his favorite locals. Most of them were weird gifts, and they remained in his basement untouched ever since.
What?
So he's got all this like stash of weapons in his house, and according to the group, it took several hours as he cautiously took everything out and he sent them to private labs for testing. So they're saying like
Gary
this.
did or the
Investigator.
investigators?
Well, Gary's dead.
How
So,
convenient.
so he died.
He lived his best
He
life.
died a pretty dumb life. Like his death was pretty dumb.
Who was
I think
it?
he had not dumb, like he had dementia, but then like he choked. He
Oh,
choked
no.
while he like basically like he couldn't swallow and like he couldn't swallow
Oh, that's
anymore, and
sad.
it got stuck there. I think.
That's sad.
But
Well, okay.
Justice
He
for the
kind.
Zodiac
I
Killer.
know. I was like, he, in a way, kind of deserved it, but at the same time, you don't deserve it.
But so again, this evidence is still coming out. But apparently, in this local town, he led a group called the Posse, which is also known to be killing machines, right? But this is the media and what they say. For this party, like they would go into hiking, he would teach them like how to kill animals and like set traps and
And like hunt.
but like
He
but
hated
there's
hunting
stories.
animals. What the heck?
So basically, right, is that there is this one guy, his name, well they call him, I don't know his name, his name's Avery, and he left the group out of fear. And he started to tell some stories of what this guy had done and like in the group and like had like a child hanging from a tree and things like that. But
Oh my
he left the
gosh.
group out of fear, and it's because is that he saw photos of the Zodiac Killers and he confronted Gary Post about it. He said, and then again, we don't know what's this guy, right? But he said apparently when he asked him about it, the guy ran at him with a hammer, like trying to kill him. And so they're saying like there's a lot of evidence that have been brought up in this. Like these are things we don't know yet, right? But he did move from the Bay Area where the murders took place.
Yeah.
He's clearly running like a group of like extremists, right? Like he's a mild-mannered, like that's serial killer stuff, right?
Yeah.
This is just a normal guy, but he's got a matching scar, and he's got all these guns. Like again, Zodiac, well, he's got guns saved, right? The stash, they're trying to look for it all there. I don't know, like what do you guys? Because the FBI and the police, they say, hey, this isn't true. This isn't like this guy. Like they're denying it, and the case is still open. So this is the most recent one, and you can look at it too. And so he died in 2018. And just to show you how evil this man was, right? He pushed his 76-year-old wife down the stairs. Like he has a criminal record. Like,
What?
He's not this mild-mannered man. You know?
Yeah.
Did his wife die?
I can almost he's probably no, she didn't. Like he's a psycho. You know?
Okay, is this...
He's got trauma.
This is post.
This is post.
What the hula?
So
That's
those are
terrible.
those are some suspects. I mean,
I think it's King or Post.
you think it's K or Post, not Arthur Lee Allen?
Mm-mm.
I think it's all of them.
I think they all tag teamed.
They could.
But I think the real genius behind it is having
Is the Zodiac Killer?
one dude
Well, we still don't know.
but like 1000%, because to me, to be able to have other suspects that are more plausible than you, I think that's genius. Like Kane, like say it's not him, say it was Post and all that, but there was still so many like ties in 4K that left him a suspect in it. I think if you can actually have other people, as long as you are not the most likely suspect and you leave more plausible or like room for deniability in it, I think you're kind of golden in that. And I think that's what the Zodiac Killer did. I think that if it's not one of those guys, I think the fact that they're still, that's like what, five suspects? 4 or 5?
4.
4? That's 4 suspects. And I think that's plenty, because you could still go off, and the fact that you had some of the survivors still going, well, no, it's this one, but then another suspect. No, it's this one.
Yeah.
There's no common, there's no thread in that, so that's what's wild.
Were they all around the same age?
When things took place.
No,
They said the
so when
Zodiac
they start-
Killer. They said the Zodiac Killer was around like 35 to 40.
So when they started investigating and like when they started going after each person, like, because now they're going after Post and he's 8. Well, he was 80. Was everyone else like every time they're investigating a new person, they're like, he needs to be this old because this is how old he should be now, or he needs to be this old. Like you can't have just some random 35-year-old after like 7 years.
So
You know?
yeah. So in the case of Post, right? So if he died in 2018 at the age of 80, that put him at 1978 at 40 years old. So that gives him a time frame of being in that 30 to 45 age range.
Yeah. No, what about the
Gotta
other
be in
ones?
the group.
They were well within that.
I don't think so. I think they were saying that Kane was about the right age, and I bet if Arthur Lee Allen is like the prime suspect, right, from all these different things, for information we don't know about, he's probably around the age. The one I don't really think about is that guy, the first guy. I don't even remember that junior guy, but that's just a kid, you know.
Oh, that was the Earl guy. That
Yeah.
his name matched. Hello.
Yeah.
You could put anyone's name that's long in there and you can match.
That's interesting.
I still think they all had to be in a group because, like, maybe Post was the one that like made the group, and he was like the mastermind behind it, and he just had each and every single person go off on their own. Like he kind of was there.
Because like he has the posse. That
He's got his own posse that's hunting animals, which that also throws me off because he said he preferred killing man than animal. but I mean, he's also of old age, you know, all that stuff. So that kind of like doesn't make me think otherwise, but he could be throwing you off, you know. I don't know.
I would
There was
even
some
say
things too.
pride. I don't. The only reason why I say that wouldn't work is because of the cockiness and the pride that
For the
took place for the Zodiac Killer. I mean, look at the
Oh,
way
like
that
there
he made
wouldn't be
it
a
known.
group?
No, I don't think that there would be a group, because I think if that's still the vibe and it's like, oh no, we're killing people and there's this
That's
cocky,
true.
but it's like, what if one of them was like, no, I was the one who did that, you didn't even do it, blah blah. What if it's that kind of infighting and then quickly rat out the other one?
That's what it's.
I don't
yeah.
get it. I
He
think
was-
it's pride with
He was prideful, right? Because remember, he said Zodiac Killer 37, San Francisco PD 0,
Yeah.
and he
Well-
probably wants to take, you know.
I mean, yeah, he could take all pride in it all, but I don't know. I feel like, yeah, he's super prideful and all this stuff, but I feel like if one person did kill, I don't know. I like want to, because that's just so strange. Why did one person see this person and was like, that's it? But if like, let's say she saw like that Kathleen girl, let's say she saw a picture of Post, and she's like, he doesn't fit anything, and it's like, well, that's, you just got, I don't know. He
Yeah, 'cause-
also doesn't look big in that picture. He's also old, but
yeah, he's 80 years old.
I
That's
know
40,
a lot of people that are 80s.
almost 50 years ago for this poor man, you know.
This poor man. What the heck?
I just like I could see that, and why that would make, I mean, that would answer the question of, okay, we're seeing different suspects and how this person could be it and this person could be it, but I still just think that the fact that pride alone, and I purely think that that's enough to rule out the group, because I just think that one super cocky dude made it very adamant to own what he did and wanted it to be like rubbed in their face. I just don't think that, I think that if there's one person, and I'm gonna definitely say that because of male ego and that like dominance that does take place in men, don't at me, okay? But because it does take place in men, I think that there does have to be a head honcho. And I don't think that because killing and taking that kind of ownership, I just purely think that.
But then it gets weird though, because if he's a copycat and he does the Stein murders, then the Zodiac confirmed though, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's a lot there.
There's
You
just
don't
so many
solve- yeah.
killers in the world.
Just wait until next week when we go over.
I kind of want to go over the John Benet Ramsey case. I'm the host for that one.
Okay.
You've never heard of John Benet Ramsey? I'll have to tell you later.
No.
Anyways, back to Ted Cruz. He
What if he
His
is his son?
father.
Exactly.
does he even look like? No, he doesn't look
Ted
like the
Cruz?
sketches.
They say Ted Cruz is the Zodiac Killer because he looks like the sketches in one of the sketches. You see, because he's black?
No, I say because he's big.
'Cause he's
Please
big.
don't put words in my mouth.
Well, I guess we should just wrap
What
it
if
up.
that was the baby of
Kathleen.
Kathleen? That would actually be so trippy.
Oh,
He was not born at the time when the Zodiac Killer was around.
2 years
What if
later.
he adopted? What
It was
if
2
the
years later.
Zodiac
I looked
Killer-
at the year.
The
It was
Zodiac
2
Killer
years later.
adopted the child.
Fan fiction.
Ted Cruz. So we came to the conclusion at the very end that Ted Cruz is the serial killer, the Zodiac Killer.
Comment down below if you
Yeah.
do think.
Next week, let us know who we should go over and with their murder rampage. Maybe George Washington. We don't know.
Oh my
George
goodness.
Washington.
Who took his socks? Please, somebody.
What? Alright, cut it there, Mcgowan.